Somewhere in Brazil right now, there's a fruit growing directly out of a tree trunk that will spoil in 3 days and never reach a single supermarket outside the country. Somewhere in Europe, there's a fruit that people traditionally let rot, on purpose, because that's the only way it becomes edible. And on one entire continent, no fruit grows in the wild at all, not a single one. By the end of this video, you'll know the single rarest fruit on every continent on Earth, where it grows, why almost nobody outside its home region has ever tasted it, how long some of these trees take just to produce their first fruit, and one number for each that will genuinely surprise you. This is the complete map of the rarest fruits on the planet, continent by continent, with nothing left out. You're never going to eat most of these fruits by accident. That's the point. Knowing they exist changes how you travel, how you shop, and how you read a menu next time you're at a specialty grocery store, a farmer's market, or a food stall in a foreign country. You'll recognize a name most people scroll right past without a second look. You'll know why a tiny jar of caviar-looking limes costs more than an entire bag of regular ones at the same checkout counter. You'll know which fruit to actually search for the next time you're in Southeast Asia, rural Brazil, or even your own state, since one of these grows wild in North America and most Americans have never heard of it. This isn't trivia for its own sake. It's the difference between walking past something rare and knowing exactly what you almost missed. And it's the kind of detail that makes you the person at the table, who actually knows what's on the plate. Let's start in Africa. The rarest fruit. Here isn't rare because it's hard to grow. It's rare because almost nobody outside West Africa has ever needed it. It's called the miracle berry. This small red fruit grows wild in Ghana and nearby countries, and it does something no other common fruit does. It contains a protein called miraculin that binds to your taste receptors and makes sour and acidic. Food tastes sweet for a limited window of time. Bite into a raw lemon after eating one, and it tastes like lemonade. Vinegar tastes like apple juice. Hot sauce tastes like a sweet glaze instead of pure heat. The effect lasts anywhere between 30 minutes and 2 full hours before your taste buds go back to normal. In the 1970s, a company tried to turn it into a sugar substitute for diabetics, and the FDA blocked its approval, a decision many people still believe was influenced by lobbying from the sugar industry. Today, it mostly survives at underground events called flavor-tripping parties, where people pass around lemons, limes, and hot sauce just to watch each other's reactions. On its own, without anything sour to pair it with, the berry actually tastes fairly mild and unremarkable. This one is perfect for anyone who's ever wanted to taste a completely different version of a food they already know, without changing a single ingredient in it. Now, let's move to Asia, and this is the one people fight over online constantly. Mangosteen, Southeast Asia's queen of fruits, hidden inside a thick, almost inedible purple rind. One bite, and you get soft white segments that taste sweet, citrusy, and floral all at once, unlike almost anything else in the produce aisle. Here's the detail almost nobody knows. Legend says Queen Victoria offered a reward of £100, an enormous sum for the era, to anyone who could bring her a single fresh one, which is how it earned its royal nickname in the first place. Mangosteen trees can take up to 10 years before they produce their first fruit, which is exactly why they stayed rare and expensive outside Asia for so long. For decades, the United States banned fresh mangosteen imports entirely over fears of fruit flies hiding inside the rind, and only lifted that ban in the mid-2000s once irradiation treatment became standard. Even now, fresh mangosteens sold outside Asia often cost several times more per pound than common fruit, purely because of how slow it is to grow and how tightly its import is regulated. This fruit is for anyone chasing the single most requested exotic flavor in Southeast Asia. The one every food traveler is told to track down first. But the next one is the strangest fruit in Europe by a wide margin. The medlar. This fruit was everywhere in medieval Europe and is almost completely forgotten today. Here's the part that sounds fake, but isn't. You cannot eat a medlar when it's freshly picked. It's rock hard, bitter, and completely unappetizing straight off the tree. You have to let it sit until it softens and turns brown through a process called bledding, which is essentially controlled, deliberate rotting. Only then does it turn sweet, wine-like, and almost custardy, closer in taste to spiced applesauce. or dates than any fresh fruit. Medieval English speakers actually had a much cruder nickname for it, based purely on its shape once it opens at the blossom end. It grows on small trees across England and France, and was once a staple winter fruit stored in cellars long after the harvest ended. You'll almost never find it at a grocery store today because it doesn't ship or display the way normal fruit does, and most modern shoppers wouldn't recognize what they were even looking at. This one is for adventurous eaters who want to say they've eaten something that predates most vegetables, by hundreds of years. Now, here's one from North America that most Americans have never even heard of, despite it growing in their own backyard, the pawpaw. This is the largest edible fruit native to North America, and it tastes like a cross between banana and mango, with a soft, custardy texture that catches almost everyone off guard the first time they try it. Indigenous peoples ate it widely for generations, and it was reportedly a personal favorite of both George Washington and Thomas Jefferson, who grew it at his own estate. Lewis and Clark's expedition actually relied on pawpaws for food during part of their journey west, when other supplies were running dangerously low. So why haven't you tried one? It ripens for only a few weeks in late summer, bruises within a day of being picked, and has a shelf life of just a few days after that. That combination makes it almost impossible to sell commercially at any real scale. It's mostly found at small farmers markets in the eastern United States, and only if you happen to be there during that tiny window. This one is for anyone who assumes every rare fruit has to come from somewhere exotic overseas. When one has been growing quietly in American forests the entire time, but the next one might be the hardest fruit on this entire list to ever actually taste. The jaboticaba from Brazil. This fruit grows straight out of the trunk and main branches of the tree, not from little stems like a normal fruit, which makes the tree look almost unnatural when it's in full bloom. Locals literally walk up and pull it directly off the bark. By hand, it tastes like a mild grape or a mangosteen with a thick skin that pops the moment you bite into it. Here's the number that explains everything. It spoils within 3 to 4 days of being picked, which means it's almost never exported fresh and stays practically unknown outside Brazil. No matter how popular it is at home, some trees take 8 to 15 years before they produce their first fruit at all. So most jaboticaba trees you'll find are sitting in home gardens, not on large commercial farms. Brazilians turn the surplus into wine, jam, jelly, and liqueur just to use it before it goes bad. This one is for the person who wants proof that a fruit can be genuinely famous in one country and a total mystery everywhere else on Earth. Now to Oceania, and this fruit has earned a nickname that sounds made up: citrus caviar, the finger lime, native to the rainforests of eastern Australia. Squeeze one open, and instead of juice, you get tiny individual pearls that burst in your mouth, just like fish roe, ranging in color from pale white to pink to deep red, depending on the variety. Indigenous Australians ate these for thousands of years before chefs rediscovered them in the 1990s and started putting them on seafood, in cocktails, and across fine dining menus almost overnight. Here's why they're still so expensive today. The trees are slow-growing, heavily spined, and genuinely difficult to harvest by hand, which makes large-scale farming far harder than growing a normal citrus tree. That difficulty is the entire reason a small panada finger limes can cost more than an entire bag of regular limes at the exact same store. This one is for anyone who wants a single ingredient that instantly makes a dish look and taste like it came from a high-end restaurant kitchen, and now the twist almost nobody expects. What's the rarest fruit on Antarctica? The honest answer is that there isn't one. No fruit-bearing plant grows naturally on the entire continent because there's no real soil, no liquid water most of the year, and average temperatures that stay far below freezing. But here's the detail that makes this actually interesting. Some research stations, including facilities near the South Pole, grow limited produce indoors using hydroponic systems under artificial light, sometimes including tomatoes, which are botanically a fruit. So technically, the rarest fruit on Antarctica isn't wild at all. It's a hydroponic tomato grown in a sealed pod thousands of miles from the nearest tree. So which one of these is actually the rarest in practice? Ranked from easiest to genuinely find to nearly impossible, it goes like this. Mangosteen sits at the top, since it's now imported more widely and even sold frozen or canned in some countries. Finger limes come next, showing up more and more in upscale restaurants and specialty stores. Miracleberry follows, sold online as tablets to specialty buyers even outside Africa. Pawpaw is harder, limited to a few weeks a year at local markets in one part of one country. Medlar is rarer still, existing almost entirely in home orchards with no real commercial market at all. Jaboticaba is close to impossible outside Brazil, since it spoils before it could ever be shipped. And Antarctica's tomato isn't rare because of demand. It's rare because there's almost nowhere on the entire continent it can exist at all. So there you have it. 7 continents, 7 fruits, and almost none of them will ever show up in your regular grocery store. Some are rare because they're fragile. Some are rare because they take a decade or more just to grow their first fruit. And one is rare because an entire continent simply can't support fruit at all, wild or otherwise. If you remember only one thing from this video, remember this. Rarity in food usually isn't about how good something tastes. It's about how hard it is to move, store, or wait for. Which one of these had you actually heard of before this video? Is there a rare fruit from your own country that I didn't mention here? Tell me in the comments below. I read every single one of them. And if this blew your mind even a little, hit like and subscribe, because this channel covers the strangest, most surprising sides of food from every corner of the world.